Shalom, family, and welcome to Sukkot 2024. Sitting up here with my brother David Colon. So glad he's joining us from got out of Florida.
Yes,
To get you out.
that's
So
right.
glad you
That's
did.
right.
And of course, my brother Jeff Proviciero, many of you know, and long time stalwart, steady Eddie. Man of the hour, man of action, people. Okay, he's been a man of action for many years now. We are super grateful for him. And also, hey, we got a special treat. Guess who else is joining us tonight? Come on now.
Come on now.
We can't forget. Grandpa G's joining us as well.
Yeah.
Shalom, family. Shalom. My goodness. And I tell you, I'm so grateful you're joining us. It's already dark over there. We got the sun going down here. Beautiful sunset behind us. It looks like you've already enjoyed your sunset, brother.
Yes. Yes, it's lovely.
All
And it's supposed to be around mid-60s tonight. Beautiful sleeping weather, fresh air, country air. Yes.
Can't beat it. Can't beat it. Amen and amen. I was so truly Baruch, so much Baruch today with the at the altar and blowing the shofars. Did you catch that today?
Oh yes, I sure did. And we joined right in there with you. And
Amen.
yeah, and we had to wait till after the silver trumpets
That's
got
right.
blown, and
That's right.
then we joined in with the shofar. We got a shofar
man,
right
and
here.
it's
Yeah,
just,
we keep it handy, and so
you can feel
Yes.
it, as I believe he is truly awakening his people, and you can feel it.
Absolutely.
You can feel the number of people are truly coming in and asking new questions. We certainly see it on the Truther's Journal, don't we, brother?
Yeah. Oh,
That's
when I
where
was blowing
see.
that shofar, and you guys were blowing it. See, it wasn't over the computer speakers. It was over that JBL Party Mix 310 Plus.
That's
I mean, with the sub, I mean, it was echoing in this holler. It sounded like a whole band of shofars. You couldn't tell
man.
live from you all. I
You
mean,
pulled
it
out
was
the high tech. You see what I mean, folks? And this is not just
blew
him.
it
There's
away.
probably other people doing the same thing. Like, okay, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and connect to the altar and blow this thing in every direction.
Come on.
Every
Awaken
direction.
the brethren. Come on.
Yes.
Awaken.
Yeah.
Amen.
Until the last trump.
Until he blows the trump.
Right.
We
Yeah.
blow till he blows. When he blows, it's all over. Se acabó. Se acabó entonces, man. At that point, all bets are off. Yes. Unfortunately, and I think people are realizing, brethren, that we're getting close to that point.
Oh.
I think we're starting to see more and more people are awakening to the scriptures being fulfilled. The number of catastrophes, I think, have really
opened people's eyes.
Yeah, that's really caused an awakening, don't you think, David?
Absolutely.
Well, you're coming right out of Florida. Tell us what that was like.
Yeah, that was
intense.
It was intense. It was definitely intense, but I've been through so many of them as a child growing up in Florida that certain things don't scare me now. When they say Cat 5, I'm out, because those are the ones that are truly dangerous.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I know where Grandpa G is. Sometimes you've been getting some really bad storms. In fact, your power was, or your internet went down for, what was it, like
days.
19 days?
Yeah.
And he was using up his cell phone internet and just trying every which way to figure out how to solve that.
Oh, and I was living here. I was living in North Jackson when Katrina hit, and when it went through New Orleans, and by the time it got to Jackson, it was still a
You see that,
category
yeah.
3.
Yeah.
And it was the most terrifying thing I ever saw in my life. It was like a war zone. Explode, all the energy stuff exploding, trees exploding, and just being uprooted, and looks like the missiles flying through the air.
Oh, absolutely.
And I thought I was going to get caught away in a whirlwind like Eliyahu. And I was talking to the Almighty. I said, I don't think I'll measure up like Eliyahu. I deserve a whirlwind like this, Father.
Right.
So he
But
spared
nevertheless, and here we are, right? Seeing these signs, seeing these numbers, seeing
power was down, banks were down, gasoline station were down, immobilized, place was leveled. And now they said Katrina was worse, but I don't know. I what I've seen with Helen, and what I'm witnessing, behind the scenes, off of mainstream media, my heart just is crushed and breaking for those folks. And then coming in with maybe a second, whammy. And,
well, they're not even, what I've heard, they're not even done. I mean, they're not even remotely done reviewing even where people may have perished. I mean, so there's no possibility that they have an accurate idea at this point, because there's certain parts that they can't even get to from last I heard.
Right.
What did you guys hear? Did you guys hear about that?
Well, I can't verify this. I was just told not too long ago they are bulldozing bodies, literally running bulldozers and cleaning up dead bodies with bulldozers. That's how bad.
Yeah.
And this is kind of an interesting thing, or maybe, I don't know. I haven't followed it in complete detail, but all 5 states that were hit are represented in people that left those areas. As they left those areas to come here, those are the exact spots that got hit. The force that resists being taken out of the way. I don't know what that means.
Well, I knew that there was a play, because there were certain things that were valuable, let's just say, in that part of the world.
Yes.
So once we knew that, we know, okay, we see what's really going on here.
It's a land grab.
Well,
remove the landowners and the deed holders, and then just take over their property. Give them $700 that they pay back. They had to pay back in a year, and just go on. Forget about it.
Right.
With $700.
I mean, that's what's. I mean, we don't know yet, but man,
It's
looking that way, right?
It's most definitely looking like the Lahaina fires.
Well,
of
something's not good here.
Just the way that they are, not allowing even good Samaritans to come in. And they're for fear, they'll actually arrest them.
That's what I heard. Jeff, have you heard about that?
What's that?
That they were arresting people for trying to help?
Yes.
Yeah.
The federal government came in.
Are you kidding me?
Not to help, but to prevent people from rescuing.
Right.
So,
Oh my goodness.
That was the role of FEMA and the federal government, was to stop rescue attempts.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Well,
because if you come in with
that's true, and I don't know that.
There's a helicopter pilot, in a team, went in.
That's true.
And rescued a child, and they filmed it on the video, and it came back out. Wouldn't let them go back in. Stopped them at the airport where they had to fill up, and then they took the media, the line media, used that video clip as if the government is sending help and saving that child. Twisted that, made a lie out of it.
This is why we need to be praying for our brethren. We need to be praying for our brothers and sisters, blowing the shofar, crying out to Yahweh, asking Him for mercy, save them and deliver them out of these places. It just doesn't change. Look at this. The local sheriffs have said anyone from Cleveland attempting to block aid will be arrested.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I here comes your civil war, man.
Yeah.
If you
Okay.
if
You're gonna have
Well, that
certain-
came to me too.
Yeah.
That's
you
going
know,
to
I mean,
cause
if
an
that's going to
outcry.
be the case, they're going to fight over that. Don't
Oh,
you think?
absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, if you're telling somebody they can't bring aid to somebody's neighbor,
Hey.
I mean, that's fighting words right
Hey.
there for them folks.
no, what they're saying is if you survive, you get $700. But your life's gone, your house is gone, everything. If I come in with tanks, it's one thing. Everybody knows to defend themselves. But if I use plausible deniability and come in through the form of a fire or a steered hurricane, no one can say anything. It was a natural.
Father
Right.
have mercy.
It was a natural event.
Right.
You know.
Father
Right.
have mercy.
Where's the National Guard at? Where's Tennessee?
Yeah.
They're in foreign countries. Did you know the day of the storm, the next day after the storm, they deployed our troops into a foreign country? Did you know they could redeploy those troops in 18 hours? They can get back, to help. And how long has it been? 4 or 5 days, something like that, or longer.
Right.
And how long can a person live without water? 3 days.
Right.
You can live
Right.
without food, but water is essential in our bodies. And so,
Well, I saw a graphic I posted in the discussion board because Asheville, North Carolina, is at 2,300 feet on a mountain.
Right.
Okay,
yeah,
and they got hit by a hurricane, folks.
Right.
You think you're safe? You better pick the right mountain.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the reality is that we've got ourselves a straight up cosmic conflict going on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I mean, wouldn't you say that, brother? Is this? I've never
yeah.
seen anything like it. Have you?
Oh, I don't know if we ever seen anything like that. Not in history. In history, not just in our lifetime, but in history, to wipe out, that, and that's my old stomping grounds, children.
Yeah.
I worked in churches there in Moravian Falls, in North Carolina, in brushy mountain areas, right there at the foothills of the Appalachian, right there below Asheville and Boone, and all of that area. Music minister. I have a lot of friends there I made over the years there. Now I wonder, how are they doing? You just don't know.
You
Tragic.
And the thing about it is that the Torah, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the birth pangs don't get less. It says they get worse. Right?
Right.
Is that true?
That is true. I mean, birth pangs obviously aren't going to go away anytime soon until we have a birth.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, I mean, is it worth saving the old? At what point do you start joining the new nation and things like that, or
Isn't that exactly what we're dealing with? We're dealing with those who have a agenda for the way that this new millennium begins, and he who rules all things, who has his own plan.
Come on.
And he laughs at the plans of men, according to Psalm
Yeah.
2. He sits in the heavens, and what does he do, brother? He laughs at the plans of men, right? And so they're making their plans and thinking they're going to, what was it that they said? You will alone nothing, you will eat the bugs, and you will like it, or something like that. I don't know. You guys know better than me.
that's worth saying for? What's your
I
name?
mean, it seems to me, Gerald, that they're just slow boiling the frog. I mean,
Oh yeah.
this
Yes,
is
and then
something
people just don't know when to jump out because they've been, raising the heat up, for so long, and and it's catching us off guard and unprepared, and but
Yes. And they're
it's
so
sad.
used. Yeah. The thing about it is they're so used to, a lot of these cry wolves. Where something is, that like this is going to be the worst hurricane season on record. They've been saying that for the past 3 or 4 years, and then when
Yeah.
nothing materializes, then they think they're all good.
No, but we picked up chatter in the spring, if you guys remember.
Yeah,
And I said, this is different. This is a different pattern.
absolutely
And we
is.
picked it up and we said, we see something coming here, and remember, if you go back to like April, May, right in there, and I think it was actually earlier than that. It was probably late March, but in that time period, I remember doing several comments about the hurricanes.
Right.
And you could just fast forward right through those broadcasts and find the article that says hurricanes. And boom, stop there, because we caught the pattern of their chatter. We knew that they were saying it too much.
Right.
Remember? And we said, you know what, guys, something telling us that we should be alert, a little more extra alert.
Right.
And sure enough, and we're not done yet, are we, guys?
Right.
And that's the other thing.
I think we're just starting. Well, the scripture says, when Satan, comes, comes at us, that like a flood, Yahuwah will raise a standard. Now, a lot of times we equate that as Satan, coming at us like a flood. But if you read my article real close, I believe it's the Yahuwah flood, because he's used flood waters as many times for judgment upon mankind. He's used stoning, such as hailstones, to judge mankind when they're, will not listen. And so I believe it's judgment. And not only is this happening here in the States, there's a channel I discovered just a few days ago called Wild Weather. And all he does is just posting just wild weather events, just like what Helen did to us. It's going on in different places of the world, and it's warfare, wiping out people's livestock and food sources. And here we've lost our spring harvest. Our planting, our fall harvest, and our planting all up through there. You see, we lost all that. Right. How about all the livestock? The fruit trees, the nut trees.
This is what I mean by the frog thing I was saying. This is what I'm trying to say, brother, is that it seems to me that if it were one event, one single very badly catastrophic event, it would do awakening, kind of like 9/11 did, right?
Right.
But when they do these chemical fires, spill over here, this thing over here, this thing over here, oh, this blew up. This thing out. You almost don't notice them.
Right.
But collectively, this is beyond catastrophic.
Right.
Well, I have a question. You could always say, okay, things have always been bad, but is there a certain point when there's time markers that you can, for sure point to? For example, Apostle Peter, you had mentioned the Virgin, the sign in the heaven, the Virgin in the sky, combined with the fact that we're pretty much at the end of the 6,000 years, the 120 acceptable years.
Right.
There are certain time markers that at a certain point we have to say, is this not just normal bad, but is this it? Is this that end of the age type thing?
It's a great question. It is truly that time when you have to ask that, don't you, brother? You have to ask, are we literally seeing fulfillments faster than we can even decipher the scriptures being fulfilled?
Yes, because most folk, in the world, they're scriptural illiterate and they need help. But the ones that's astute to the scriptures, reading into the prophecies, they see it, and they're trying to blow the shofar and help as many people as they possibly can. And so, there's an awakening, and there's going to be more shuck awake with these your judgments. And just think, the earthquakes hadn't started yet.
I know it. That's the other thing.
Right. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
I believe one of the signs that we'll see now. Excuse me, Phil. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no, go ahead.
But I believe one of the big signs that we'll see that will take us into more of the day of Yahuwah. The great day, the last great day, will be a great earthquake. It speaks of a great earthquake taking place. And so I believe that great earthquake is when that ring of fire start crack-a-lacking. It may start with here on the United States side, where if it cascades in, the continental shelf cascades, it will go like dominoes all around that ring, and it's going to change the landscape of everything. And we got to be mentally and physically prepared, spiritually prepared, and
Yeah, I think you're right. Jeff, you had something on there.
No, to Dave's point, at a certain point, if Yahuwah is removing his hand of protection, do we have a responsibility to become aware of the fact that the grace and the protection isn't there as much? Like David said in the past, many times we just counted on that we had protection and that we had that extra inning.
Yeah.
So if the extra innings are running out and yet Yahuwah is moving now, so okay, that time is over. At a certain point, do we have that responsibility to move with him?
Absolutely, we do.
I mean, I believe you do. I believe that obviously if the cloud is moving, you move with the cloud.
Right.
You don't wait and see how Babylon fares. I mean, I don't think you sit around and see, well, let's see first how Babylon's going to do. What do you think, Brother G? Do you sit around and...
No. When he says jump, all you need to respond is, yeah, when Yahuwah says jump, all you have to ask is how
I mean,
high.
come on.
Yes.
And
so
I
didn't them boys when Yahusha walked down to Sea of Galilee and he's talking to them fisher boys, them fishermen, didn't he say, come on and follow me? Did they drop their nets and followed him?
Yes,
that's
most
right.
certainly did.
That's what we got to do, drop our nets and follow him.
Yeah, they absolutely did. And as a matter of fact, he was very clear that any man who touches the plow.
Come on.
What did he say?
You
touch
Not
the
worthy
plow,
of and to look back.
You're not worthy.
And you look back.
Yes.
He said, you're not worthy of the kingdom.
You're not worthy.
You're unfit, he said. Not fit for the kingdom. Wow.
Right.
Like, no.
Well, what's
turn
one-
around, go back to the back and start all over again.
Right.
And I told you that's very Hebrew. That's a very Hebrew thing, by the way. We found that out as we lived in Israel, is that it's very common for them to say no more than twice, but usually at least twice. Especially the more important the request. Right. And I think there's some value to this, because it's like, how bad do you want this? Are you sure you want this? Are you serious?
Yeah.
And to say yes to the first request, sometimes, think about children, right? Oh, Dad, I think I want to learn how to play the flute. All right, I don't know if I want to let you play the flute. Let me see how serious you are, right? We're saying no the first time.
Right.
We're saying, let me see if you really want to play the flute. No, Dad, I really am committed. I really want to learn how to do this. It's a big deal, right? There's something about that. And I think that's also true about a lot of other things that we battle with. But anyway.
I have a quick question. Do you think one of the problems for Western churchianity is that it gave the impression that we were no longer to look for where words don't fall to the ground? Because aren't we supposed to look for messengers? But if you don't even believe that still applies, then are you even looking?
For sure, people operating in fear. Nobody, I don't know anybody that wants to see the days that are coming to actually come. So therefore, with the deceiving doctrines of demons that they preach from the pulpits, it really put a lot of people in the camp of, well, let's just hope that the rapture comes and that we're no longer, we're going to escape this. Nobody wants to see it, but truth of the matter is people have been deceived into thinking that somehow or another they're untouchable, or that, it's not going to happen, or hey, that's going to happen down the road somewhere, 50 years from now, 100 years from now.
Right.
And my thing with them has always been, well, what about your grandchildren?
Right.
And your great grandchildren?
Right.
And those, somebody's going to see it.
Exactly.
And I've always known in my lifetime that I would see it. So there's that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and you and I have watched this a long time, brother. This development of, we all have, all of us here.
Most definitely.
you know, we're all the 6-0 club now officially. Oh my goodness! By the way, our latest addition over here, right, to the Grandpa Club.
I just snuck in.
Just through the wire. Yeah, he finally completed his requirements around the sun.
He's got his diploma.
I can legally say, back in my day, you know, I can get away with it. You don't know.
You don't know what we've been through. Let me tell you, all right? Let me tell you, whippersnappers, a thing or two about what's going on here.
We've been sucking wind on this planet for a while.
Long time, my friend, long time.
I can tell you a thing or
I
two.
can tell you, my friend. I remember when people pulled their pants up. I mean, come on. I'm sure my brother here remembers when people used to actually dress up to go outside.
What?
They didn't wear their pajamas outside.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd get home from school. Well, I was 18 years old when I found out my name wasn't Go Plow. I get home from school. Yeah, I'd get home from high school. I get home from school, and Grandpa would say, "Son, go plow."
Go plow.
Go plow.
Son, go plow. That's your name, Son, go plow.
That's a Grandpa for you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh man.
We come
These days, what video game is that? Son, go plow.
Right? Right? Yeah.
I often say,
Can you believe this guy wasn't going to join us? I had to rouse him up. I said, "No, wait a minute. How are you not going to join us?"
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
love
trying to
Grandpa.
get it out. I'll suck up all the air in the room if you let me. You know,
Man, we gotta bring this guy. He's like, I suck up all the air in the room. I said, "You're the favorite one in the group. What are you talking about, man?
Oh, I hadn't shaved for a week.
We're just your
I mean, I've
wingmen."
been camping out in the woods, y'all.
You got
I've
a
been
whole
camping out in
squadron
the
of
woods.
wingmen now.
I looked like I was on Skid Row, and Brother Peter said, "Oh, come on, just come on." And it's hard to say no, you know. So I went in there and knocked them whiskers off a little bit.
Well, you did. It's a good thing you did because I didn't.
Yeah,
We just wanted to see you and love on you. And
Yeah.
be grateful
Yeah.
for you, my friend.
yeah.
We're all connected in this thing. We're connected at that
Yeah.
altar. I was
Oh,
saying
we can
today.
be, and that's, you know, and when the scripture talks about, that we're going to meet him in the air, you know, and if you look in that Strong Concordance, the word air means breath. And what is the breath? The breath of life, the ruach of Yahuwah. You see, and that's where we get caught up, is in that ruach hakodesh. You see, and we get in that spirit area, and there's no geographical no limitations with Yahuwah. He can be in
That's
Arizona, here in
exactly what I
Mississippi.
was
We
saying.
were just talking about that
We were
today.
just talking about this. Look,
Just talking about it today.
when you connect, when you are connected, okay? So, yes, there's times when people are a great distance away, like a husband and a wife. Just because their distance is great doesn't make their covenant less,
Come on.
right?
That's
It
right.
just means that it's now extended over a longer distance, but it's just as valid, just as strong, just as connected. You still feel one another. It's all just as
Absolutely.
real,
Absolutely.
right? So this is the power of covenant. Even if one, what did he say? He said, if one member is has berakah, all the if every one member is honored, right?
Mhm.
All the members are honored
Mhm.
because we're connected.
Right.
Power
That's
So
right.
this is why you have to remain connected,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
sometimes it's going to be another member of the team that does something amazing, right? And another person that does something amazing, or another team, or another whatever it is. It remains connected though.
Mhm.
When pruning occurs, that's a whole nother thing, isn't it, brother? Because the branches, or the vine is fine, but the branches that get cut off, what happens to them?
Well,
When
now,
you're
now
pruning?
there is such thing as, complete removal of the branch, and that's what happened with Yashar'el. All 12 tribes, eventually got removed and has to be reattached and grafted back into the original vine.
Come on.
Mhm.
But far as pruning, Now that's a different thing. You don't take the branches completely off. They're
Right.
good branches, but what happens? They get too long, overbearing, and when they do that, they get overweight and they break. They hurt themselves.
Right.
And so what you have to do, even with apple trees, peach tree, any kind of fruit tree, they have to be pruned every so often, and put
Right.
back. Now, I'm sure if you were a branch and you think you're doing really swell and you putting out a whole lot, and then some tree fella come by,
Come on, man.
just
Sitting here
trim
thinking
your
about-
ears back a little bit. That don't feel good. But you got to suck it up and take it, because that's going to make you more fruitful and
Come on.
produce even more fruit. So we got to take the discipline. We got to take the, when it's right. I don't believe in abuse, and things like that. But we all stand in correction sometimes, and so and it
That is a
cuts.
fact.
And another thing,
We all
what else
stand in
is the cut?
correction.
It's the cutting of the wick. Huh?
Yep.
What was the first thing that the sleeping virgins had to do
Trim
after
that.
they heard the message? The first thing they did was trim that wick, the stuff they was running on yesterday.
Right.
The revelation, the light they walked in yesterday is no longer good. Now the wick's good, the wine, the oil's good, the vessel's good, but that wick that you burnt, that crusty black part, has to be cut, and that's the circumcision of the heart, honey. Not the circumcision of the flesh, but that circumcision of the heart. And we don't want them heart things. We don't want to let go of the stuff that we want to hold on to and fight for stuff. The things of the world that we're going to have to learn how to let go. Them folks there in the southeast, they had to let go, and they're having a hard time letting go of stuff, aren't they? They want to hold on to that stuff because that was value to them. You see, that's what they put their trust in. Now everything they put their trust in is gone. Now what you going to trust in? See, all this stuff can be taken away, but Yahuwah, you see, is the one that we need to be trusted.
And that's really the message. That's really, you can't really, you have to be a little dull to miss the message of how temporal things are.
Come on.
Right?
And,
you got to be kind of a little slow to miss that.
Here today, gone tomorrow.
If you're not catching on to, how fast it can disappear.
Absolutely.
Literally
From one day to the next, literally in one day. Just like the scripture says, actually. We were just talking about it today.
Yeah.
In one day.
Yeah.
That's that can happen in any area. And this is a couple of years ago, Jeff, you remember we put out, kept encouraging our people to download emergency preparedness checklists.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
Yep.
For a while, we were just, hey guys, get this. We're giving it to you. It's free. We're not, it's not something we're charging you for. Here you go. Because there are things you don't think about, right? Until the emergency occurs. So if you have a checklist that's written by somebody who's been through or helped up people out of it, right? And you look at that checklist now, before anything happens, you look at a fire checklist, the natural disaster checklist. And that doesn't mean you got to do anything, but at least be cognizant.
Yeah. When you're on the roof and your house is underwater, that's not the time to get your water storage, in place. And but it's the age-old thing, and you see it in the Torah as well, because when things are good, like Dave said, when you're protected and things are good, you're not thinking about that. But sometimes that's Yahuwah saying, hey, I'm extending my hand of protection just to give you a little bit more time, not to make you comfortable to stay necessarily. So
that's one of my concerns right now, is because there's a wave of judgments, right? So then there's this bam judgment, then a lull. Oh, the lights came back on. We're good now. Everything's fine. Yeah. Oh, look, the gas station came back down the road, right?
Yada Yahuwah.
Yeah. We're good. We're saved, right? No, we don't have to go anywhere now. Meanwhile, there's another storm literally like on its way.
Right.
That they're even tracking.
Right.
Okay, so when he delivers you, is it just me, and I mean this sincerely, or does it feel a little bit like you're tempting me?
Absolutely.
When
Well,
he says, "Thou shalt not tempt Yahweh,"
it's
right?
like Dave, it's
I
like,
don't know. It
it's
seems
like
like
Dave
it
said,
to me.
when you get used to being protected and saved, oh, that hurricane, nothing happened. Oh, that fire, nothing happened.
This is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
Just the fact that he delivered you doesn't mean, in my estimation, and again, I'm asking this sincerely. I
Sure.
love your comments, folks. I love your input. You guys are all wise brethren. I think a little bit of that is bravado and almost like
Yeah.
brother was saying, foolhardy a bit.
Foolhardy.
I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
saying, run for the hills and everything, but I'm saying, at least pray and ask him, am I supposed to be here?
Right.
At least start asking new questions, right?
Yeah.
And if he says to you, no, this is time to go, now you have a whole new set of questions you need to pray about.
But you should have been preparing ahead of time, okay? Like on set apart land, okay? To start making your preparations
Come on.
so that when
Come
that
on.
time comes
Come on.
and you're ready and he says pick up and go, you've got somewhere to go.
The grandpas are going to preach to you tonight.
Come on now.
They're going to take
You
you
know,
to preach
A lot
to you.
a lot of folks use no, just like you fellas were talking about. I feel like a lot of folks uses the name of Yahuwah like a lucky charm.
Oh, come on.
You know.
come on.
Now
Genie
you-
in a
Now-
bottle.
Now you
I'm not living, I'm not walking the path in the light. I'm using the moon, the dark, side, following out his path. But I'm still going to use his name as a lucky charm. I'm not going to, obey his word all completely, just half in and half out. But I'm going to use his name as a lucky charm, and and just test him, honey. We don't jump off of a 10-story building and say, I'm going to trust Yahuwah that I'm not going to get hurt.
That's right. That's
So-
right. And
so we don't
that's what I'm saying. That I'm agreeing with you, brother. And by the way, shalom to our brother Encinas in the
Shalom.
Philippines.
Oh, I love this guy. He's my man.
Shalom, Shabbat shalom
Seen
to
it.
all
Man.
of you. Amen. But I have to agree with him. I think that we're on the same page here. What do you
Absolutely.
guys think? I mean,
Absolutely.
that's a serious question. It is not a light matter.
No.
You're talking about relocation, right? You're
Right.
talking about serious financial issues,
Right.
serious matters of,
Right.
I mean, people grew up in certain parts of the world and they have a lot of history there. That's not really easy to just pick up and leave, is it, bro?
No,
Well,
it ain't.
it's like,
That's hard.
it's like he was saying, Brother G was saying, basically, it's not just a charm, like you say it, like Yahuwah. Then the problem is a lot of, in churchianity, you get trained like that's it. You just say his name, but then there's the second part of obeying.
Yeah.
So basically, yes, you say his name, but then you have to listen to hear his voice, like we heard about this morning. And
He'll
if he's
quicken your
saying
spirit.
that this is not for the purpose of saving you to stay, this is the purpose of extra protection to give you time to make plans and leave.
Obedience.
You got to be able to hear his voice.
That's the second half,
Yes.
is obeying.
Obeying. Obedience.
I mean, if you can't hear him, if he's not speaking to you,
Right.
that is your first problem. You can't. That's like saying,
Yeah.
I'm gonna drive my car without a steering wheel. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I
It's-
mean, and I guess in our modern world, it would be without a GPS, right?
Right.
So kind of maybe that makes the point better
Right.
for modern people. I don't know, but it
Right.
just is insane to me
Right.
to
Yeah.
not stop right
Right.
now and pray.
Or,
Right.
or if I
and
don't,
really be asking some hard questions. Am I
or
wrong
if
to
I,
say that?
If
No,
I
you're
don't, and I
absolutely
try the
right.
spirits, and I know every time Dave speaks, his words
Right.
don't fall to the ground. At the very least, I'm going to listen to what Dave says until I do hear.
Yeah.
We're supposed to glean off of each other. We're supposed to be, bouncing things off of each other so that, iron sharpens iron. That's the way it goes.
Well,
You
in the
know.
mouth of two or three witnesses,
In the
a
mouth
word
of
is
two or three
established,
witnesses,
right?
absolutely.
And so, the many times people have the single witness word, that's how we got in this mess.
Come on.
Okay, we got in this
Man.
whole mess on a single witness word, everybody.
Right.
A single witness word. Where's the second witness? Well, until you bring me that second witness, we're going to go ahead and stay the matter.
Right. Yes. Even in a court of law, you must have a triage of witnesses
or evidence,
right, to corroborate
right,
and prove your
and
case.
You can't jump on any of that.
Exactly.
And so we have to get wiser. We keep getting tricked the same way, don't we?
Yeah.
It's the same old tricks. It's not even changing it up.
Well, when you're dealing with a population full of fluoride, overly medicated, they're docile, they're complacent, and so, and then you have those that's deaf, and blind. And what did Yahusha said? Leave them alone. It's the blind leaders leading the blind. And I'm sorry, that sounds hard, but and then when it rains on the just and the unjust. Judgment comes to the house of Yahuwah first. So don't think that we're not going to get corrected.
Come on.
We sure will.
That is a fact. And it's a reality that I think Christianity is really
got to obey. Yes, Brother Scott.
I think they're starting to really have a real awakening among, again, what we call churchianity, what we call, what they would have called a couple hundred years ago popery, because you don't look a whole lot different, right? And so, and I think a lot of them are waking up and going, wait a minute, the cloud has moved. What was grace before, what we had grace on, okay, where there was a little bit of grace because of our ignorance, because of the level of deceit, because of the inability to compare notes, and then in came technology, in came capability, in came a new era, if you will, and suddenly we're able to do this. Where we're comparing notes, talking with our brother, and we can talk to a guy in Israel who's doing something, and another guy in Turkey who's got some manuscripts, and another guy in another part of the world, and we can sit and have a conversation and compare things that we couldn't do.
And he grades on a curve. So if someone in Istanbul in Turkey is using his name, we better catch up, because when the standard gets raised, the enemy.
He just said it. It comes in like a flood. You better get with it.
Well, if there's a standard somewhere, you better catch up to that standard.
Is raising, and that standard means a flag.
Yeah, who's coming? He's coming through.
He's bringing it in like a flood. Am I right? Isn't that what you just said?
Can't run from the judgment of Yahuwah any more than you can run from a flood.
That's right.
So if there's standards being
what a picture. I mean, when you think about it, we just had some serious pictures of flooding, and then you bring that up, and that's so true, because he said the earth will be filled with his kavod. So if there's something you can plan on, like, go ahead and bank on that, like that's going to happen, because he said it. The end. So now the question is only how and what mechanisms, but whether or not the earth is going to be filled with his kavod, that question's clearly declared.
Well, and as it gets filled with his kavod, you know there's a standard somewhere.
Yes.
And that standard better be high.
Well, be righteous ruling then.
And I know for me personally, I've never felt an urgency like I'm feeling now. Even Y2K, all those other things.
2012,
2012. Yeah, I never felt.
Even 2015 had a lot of urgency to it. We knew we needed to get to the hill, but we didn't know what was after that.
Exactly.
Here we look like, it feels like we're looking over a cliff.
I know it in my ruach. I know it. So there is an urgency that is coming upon all of us. That it is time to quit playing around and get to your fold. Get to your fold.
Yeah. Well, it's a quickening, in our ruach, it's a quickening. When Yahuwah made Adam and breathed the breath of life in his nostrils, he became a living soul. But when the last man Adam came, Yahusha, what did he do? Well,
quickening spirit.
Yes. Now we become not just a living soul, but a quickening ruach, a quickening spirit. That's made alive. Quickening means made alive. And I don't know, people are getting charged up with the ruach and they feeling more alive than they ever have. You know, they're feeling more connected with the Father and wanting to do and please the Father more than ever in history, because they know that the only way we're going to make this, you know, Jacob's trouble that we're in is to walk in covenant with the Father, so we can have those covenant promises. If we're not, we don't get covered. We don't get we don't get that covenant promises and coverage. And so
That's right, and that's good. That's a good segue, because you're talking about coverage and cover, and you know, I defer a lot to Jeff on this issue, because I have a certain point of view, but you know, you look at it from a different angle, more from what you've seen. Wow, over 20 some odd years of all different types of ministry, and what happens, and what, you know, what goes well, what is working, what Yahweh confirms, what he doesn't. Share a little bit about that.
Yeah,
he just talks about cover, and a lot of people don't really understand what that means.
Well, you've helped me a lot with understanding the Torah, backing it up with Torah. I just know what I've observed over the last how many years of ministry. For 6,000 years, he's always operated through obedient servants, and I don't see that changing. And sometimes I believe in Western church, we have the tendency to think we can just be our own person, just me and Yahuwah and all that, but that's not what I've actually observed. Each ministry tends to have its own gift, its own talent, its own anointing, as it fits together in the body, and that's pretty much. I don't see a lot of protection for individuals outside of cover, outside of the ministry where Yahuwah has them to be. I just don't. And I see a lot of people that they don't really think that they need a ministry, that don't need a apostolic covering or wherever Yahuwah has you. And I just don't see that actually happening. I just don't, you know. So
it's the spirit of or the ruach of individualism, and you know, I don't need no thinking shepherd. I don't need any of you guys, you know.
Right.
But I guarantee you one thing: when calamity comes, they're going to be looking around.
Everybody needs somebody, right?
Right. They're going to be looking around saying, hey, you want to partner up? Yeah, you want to? Yeah, exactly. You know, I sent you a helicopter. I sent you a boat.
2 boats and a
Yeah,
helicopter.
2 boats and a helicopter, and
two pastors, an evangelist, and an apostle.
Yes.
Turned them all down. So.
Yes. So it, you know, as an evangelist, it hurts my heart to see so many people being so stiff-necked right now. It really grieves my ruach to no end, and I always operate from a heart of mercy first. So guys, it is time to really start taking everything that is happening now very seriously.
That's right.
Yeah, there's physical protection, which people get, but then there's also spiritual protection. So the question I ask myself is, in that upper room with Peter and the 120, if you were not in that room, what was happening to those, you know, followers?
Well, Solomon's porch, but yes, you're absolutely right. And if you're not in the right spot, because they had to confirm the Torah, so they had to be in the right spot. You're absolutely 100% right on point. Because if you're not in the spot he designated,
right place, right time,
right place, right time. Man did not designate that.
Right.
Man had nothing to do with the designation. Yahuwah set that.
That's right.
And then it makes everybody bow at the same point. It's like, no, you're not in charge here. He's in charge here. Okay? I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a king.
Right.
I don't care if you rule half of Asia.
Right.
Okay? I don't care if you're the president. I don't care who you are. Get on your knees.
Come on. In the dirt.
Let me ask you a question. What if that's his method of protection, that's his system that he operates through, and that's his way that he has to protect is through that system. If you're not if you're not connected, then is it his fault? Is it He still has to follow his own law. Is what I'm trying to say. He has
Yeah.
to follow his own rules. He can't
No.
say, okay, well, I'm going to protect a different way.
Why else is there
yeah.
a division between wise and foolish virgins? I mean, what is that all about?
Well, that's
it's not to say some people were paying attention to certain things that other people didn't think were important.
Well, it all comes down to the sovereign right to choose. This is the one thing that we have all had. We all had. This is what separates us from all other creation. It's the sovereign right to choose between good or evil.
Yeah.
Okay. So that kind of fed into the individualism, and I can do this on my own.
Yeah.
And I don't need you. Okay, and that couldn't be farther from the truth.
Well, I think it's true. I think I think one of the things that happens is a little bit of confusion about what you're breaking away from. Right. So you're breaking away from the world from sin.
Right.
Or sinful control of your life.
Right.
That's what you're breaking free from.
Right.
You're breaking through to your family. That's the grafting in that Brother G was just describing.
Yep.
Because if you don't graft in, you're a dead branch on the ground.
And
unless I'm missing part
you
of
will
the
end up
story
shriveling
here.
up and passing away. That's
That's
I
right.
mean, that's it, right?
Yes. And I mentioned this a few weeks ago about that grafting in, and you can take an orange tree and you can strip all of its branches off, and you can graft in other citrus fruit branches like lemon, lime, grapefruit, and limes, and they will produce fruit, but they won't produce oranges. You see, although they're connected to an orange tree and getting their life force and from that orange tree, yet they're only producing what their root was. You see, but if that orange tree will ever produce or have grafted back in its original branches, they will produce oranges. You see, well, that's what is going on with Yahusha. There's a lot of Baptists, Methodists, Pentecostals, Catholics, you name it, Episcopals, all wanting to be connected. You see, and say, hey, I'm part of that, and drawing from him, but they're not producing the life of Yahusha. They're producing more of their religiosity, see, and so and that's why it says a tree will be known by its fruit. You see, and so now we can tell, an orange tree from a lime tree or lemon tree, and stuff like that. And you just by the look of it, and then you can tell if the fruit's any good once you open it up, and test it. Once it gets tested or pressed on or under pressure, whatever's in that fruit is going to manifest. Is it going to be the Ruach HaKodesh, or is it going to be something ugly?
Right.
So that's where it tells.
I
couldn't have said it better. I think you nailed it. Well, my brother, I'm not going to keep you much longer. I know you took some time out for us, so we'll let you skedaddle and get some much needed rest and enjoy the rest of your Shabbat.
Shabbat shalom.
We are so thankful that you popped in.
Yeah, thanks, fellas, for letting me be part of the panel.
Oh, we love you.
So
we love you, brother.
Thankful for you. So
we love you,
my brother. Oh, always thankful when he pops in.
Yes.
I really enjoy his input and thoughts and stories because they really help us understand.
Such a genuine man. I mean,
it's a simple way to understand things. I mean, it's really really is kind of simple, isn't it?
Yes.
I think we complicated a really simple thing.
Absolutely.
Sukkot's simple. I mean, once you get the sukkah down, it's kind of downhill, guys.
Right.
You like our sukkah, right? You're sitting in here with us. Now you're joining with us on the broadcast. Guess what? You're in the sukkah. Welcome to the sukkah, right?
Right.
We got them in. Look at that.
Yeah.
They didn't even notice. They came in the sukkah with us. They didn't even notice. Huh? They didn't even see us. And next thing you know, they're sitting in here with us, huh?
Yes.
And there you go. Compliance. There you go. Now you're sitting with your brothers. All right?
Yes.
That's how it works.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One thing is, I think maybe some people can understand, like Gerald just explained, you need to graft in. The Torah is very clear. It says you have to graft in. But part of the problem is, like you said this morning, people get fooled by the fact, oh, we don't have to follow the law. We don't have to follow the Torah anymore. And so I would like to make not a plea, but I would like to say something that had was an issue with me for a long time, is understanding when Paul was saying the things about you don't have to follow, quote unquote, follow the law or the Torah. He was talking about the traditions of men, what we now call the Talmud. Nowhere in the actual scripture, if you look at what Messiah said, you must believe and also follow the commands. And that's consistent, that's clear, it's from start to finish.
Old Testament, New Testament.
Yeah, I would like to
They
make
both
that.
say
Yeah,
it.
Once you understand that distinction, that changes the whole conversation,
Yeah.
doesn't it? And now you understand why Paul says to Timothy, study the Holy Scriptures, meaning the Torah and the commandments, in the Talmud, not the Talmud, the Torah and the Tanakh, the Law and the Prophets, right? But what does he say in Galatians? No man is going to be justified by the works of the Talmud. Okay, he throws it on the ground. The Talmud's thrown on the ground. If you throw the Torah on the ground, if you switch that, you're committing blasphemy.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah, but people often confuse it too.
Exactly. But once you understand that, you go, oh man, whoa.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Remember, Messiah warned us about who would go out into the nations to trick us.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm going to speak the language of the world here. When you understand what Apostle Peter just said, you don't become less Christian, you become more Christian. I understand the word Christian. I'm speaking to people that maybe haven't fully woken up, don't have full revelation. You're moving toward the Torah. You're moving toward the quote unquote Bible. You're more authentic, not less. Mm-hmm. And I just want to make that plea to people who maybe are on the outside looking in, trying to, investigate and search.
Yeah, I'm not real sure. I understand this sort of disobey your way into the favor of the Torah. I'm not really. This doctrine sort of took off here, which reminds me of a particular group that taught the same doctrine to kings. And I remember running across this in the 1600s when a false Christ was declared in 1666, and his doctrine, by the way, was reverse all the commandments, do everything the opposite of what the scripture says.
Sounds like
okay,
Christianity.
as I understand it. I may be butchering it, but that's my understanding. Now, my point is this: we've certainly seen what that does.
Lawlessness.
Okay, and absolute debauchery. Right. I mean, we joke about it, but it's not a joke. We grew up when people wore their pants, within they wore an actual belt, the suspenders. It's one of our favorite things. I mean, not favorite, but just one of the things we go, are you kidding me? Right now, with this, right?
Pull your pants up, son.
Pull your pants up. I mean, and for others, pull the dress down. And it's like, it's one or the other. What happened here?
Right.
Netflix. I'm blaming Netflix. A devil called Netflix.
Which is getting trashier and trashier by the moment.
I disconnected from all of that so long ago that I've lost track. Mm-hmm. So you guys will have to clue me in on what they're doing.
It's progressively getting worse.
Yeah, that's what
you'll get one season's worth of, semi, okay.
Yeah, they lure you in.
Right,
Come on, we're good guys.
Yeah, right, we're good guys.
We're nice.
Yeah, and then by the fourth season,
G-rated.
Right. By the fourth season, they're practically showing everything, man. It's
G-rated, really.
Right. Yeah, right. Wait, huh? Gotcha.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, man.
I don't know. I mean, based on current event, I don't know that I would be spending a whole lot of time.
No, of course not.
Yeah,
of course not.
I don't know if that's the focus. I don't know if that's the focus of this time in history.
Yeah. No, absolutely not.
But it seems to be. It seems like like don't bother me. I want to go back to my corner and just.
Is this the time for fantasy football or Netflix? Or
exactly my point.
Right.
Right.
Or,
And
are there
or
others,
have
you
we
know?
become so addicted as an adult society? And I'm talking about in general, where the preponderance is just going to go ahead and follow that no matter what.
Yeah. Well, they use the TV and these series.
And Scott says, "Trust me, fishing is better." I agree with you, Scott. Get outside.
Yeah, they
Okay, get a hook, get a fishing rod. He took me out there and he catch it.
It's because he didn't take me to his honey.
Oh yeah, no. He
I'm
spoiled us.
kidding,
Oh,
I'm
you
kidding.
He
I'm
took
kidding.
us. I'll tell you the honey hole he took us to. He took it to his honey Mexican hole. We had the best Mexican food we'd had in a long time.
Right.
Here we are an hour from the border, and we had better Mexican food in
Iowa.
I don't know quite how we figured that out, but we did. That was great. So thank you.
So yeah, the TV is the great. It's a form of escape.
Yeah.
From facing reality.
Oh, you're right about that.
So instead, once upon a time, they would not have. If this had happened in the 40s and the 50s,
Come on, man.
okay, they would have no choice but to face what they saw.
Yeah.
Now they have an option, and the option is, I'll go watch Suits, or I'll go watch Netflix, or I'll go watch this. I'll go watch.
So you
that.
think they're just really just disconnected?
They're purposely disconnecting from reality. I know this because I had dealt with it in my own house.
What is so then? Once again, it just continues to make the case for the feast, because when you come out to a place like this, and you're sitting in a sukkah, and the world
is beautiful, by
the world is melted away. Oh,
Yes.
it's been spectacular.
It's been fabulous.
And we'll keep sharing pictures and more with you all, so that you can.
Well, you want to talk about some shalom?
Exactly my point.
Woo.
You're not just imagining it.
Right.
You're not just You're in a heavenly place. We were talking about that today.
Yeah.
That this is one of the heavenly places,
as
you said,
described in Scripture.
right?
You said they were the 20. They were at 2,300 feet. And that wasn't high enough.
No, it was wrong hill.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty high, and it's still,
Yeah. Or what are we here? 43?
4,200 feet.
42.
So we're 1,700 feet above Jerusalem. Jerusalem's at 2,500 feet.
And surrounded by mountains.
And surrounded by mountains. So
on all four sides.
I'm gonna have a fun time trying to get through that.
Right.
So but here's the thing: you knew that he prepared a place, right? He said that he would. And I asked the question today. The Scripture says that the enemy comes against the camp of the saints, and nobody's ever identified where the camp of the saints is.
Right.
We sure found a lot of camp of the ain'ts, but not a lot of camp of the saints.
Well, you're looking for a camp.
Yeah, we know a camp's important. So, and he does. He brings us to the right places. Absolutely, Mike. And I do believe that there are many places that he will set aside for his people.
Absolutely.
To
safe place
to put them and protect them
in the cleft of a rock.
Right. I don't think it's all one place. At least not now. I think it's going to become that maybe at some point in the future. But right now it's like he has to designate. Hey, here, and there's going to be shepherds he raises up, according to Jeremiah 23, which happens just before the coming of the king, which happens in verse 5 of Jeremiah 23. So we should be looking for now, what are we seeing? People maybe having enough of the backdrop that says, maybe those warnings were,
it's time to move.
Maybe those warnings were serious warnings that we should think a little differently about what we planned and versus what is he planned.
Yeah, and the enemy threw so many cry wolves out there.
Oh boy.
That this is part of the reason why people aren't moving.
I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
End of 2019, he was very clear. Sometimes you hear weaker than others. He said, it's a wrap. That's it. And 3 months later was COVID. And I'm, based on what I believe, I think we're not in that extra innings kind of thing. Is the grace and the protection. That's what I don't know, but
age of grace passed.
Well, when he gave me that word this summer about pray that your flight be not in winter, I did not take that. That has bothered me since, because I know how he does certain. You get to know some of his ways, and that really concerned me, because now you're seeing in the natural why I was concerned, right? So this was back in the summer,
and you saw me saying it then, like he doesn't do this nonchalantly.
Right.
Yeah.
So when he says to you, brothers and sisters, pray that your flight be not in winter, he's not saying you're not going to have a flight. He said you're going to have a flight. Just pray it's not in winter.
Yeah. If we were at year, 5,500 or something, but if you're right now, we're year 6,000. That's probably the time to start.
We're getting there.
Yeah,
We're not 1,000% sure, but this is not the time to be playing with. I think we might be, really, Joe.
Yeah.
We're gonna play with your calculations here.
Put the remote
You're gonna
down.
push it to the very limit
Yeah.
here, Joe. Where you going here, buddy?
Yeah.
That's
It's
what I
better.
wanna
It's
say.
always better to be prepared than not be prepared.
you got there a few years early.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my
Right.
goodness. You
Right.
could have stayed watching football for
Right.
a few extra years. Oh my
Right,
goodness.
right.
What a terrible tragedy. That
Right,
we got
right,
you
right.
moving.
Right.
Just a little early, maybe.
So that you can be at Echad with your brothers.
Unbelievable, man.
Echad.
I mean,
you just kind of think
Ahad.
about that, right?
Or
Like,
Ahad,
how much has to happen? I don't know.
I mean, Bama won. I guess that was pretty cool. But is that really the top? I don't know.
Yeah. Did he just go there?
I
I love my brother.
We got the Sukkot to ourselves, guys. We scared them all away. We're just gonna hang out with
Man,
you.
it's
Talk to
beautiful.
us. Come talk to us. Come on. Come and chat with us.
Yes. Yes.
Man. Talk to us. You know what I love is
Can you imagine a generation of Scots? we had,
right?
how long would this be done in a week? Be done in a week. Scott, you're the model. You're the role model.
Listen, Scott. Scott. Yeah, well, yeah, that poor guy doesn't sleep all night half the time.
Well, I think if he came here, he'd find
He
out.
probably sleep, huh?
Yeah, he'd probably. I know I have.
We found. This is not an advertisement. I'm not going to. I'm not going to advertise anything. However, I did find an air filter that we are really keen on, man. And it's really making a big difference. So if you have sensitivities to dust and all that, wow.
And you may have sensitivities and not even know it.
And not even know it. I wonder about that.
That's true.
How many things are we exposed to that we're not even really figuring out?
Well, let's see. Let's start with
the
aluminum.
indoor air pollution we're talking
barium.
about. Yeah.
Let's go down the list.
Oh, I bought a new rug, honey. And you're like, what's that smell? And you can smell it like 4 rooms away.
Right. And it smells like a barnyard.
No, it may smell like phthalates or something. It may smell like some kind of like industrial plastic. And you're like, what is that? And it's the rug she bought at Walmart, right?
Right.
No, I trust them.
I know you're being funny here,
I think they
brother.
reviewed all the chemicals. I trust. I think we're good. Oh my!
Oh
You
my.
think we're good, huh?
Yeah.
There's a guy
These
checking all the
guys
chemicals.
checked out, huh?
Yeah. What you lost your faith in humanity? There's a guy testing every chemical, every ingredient in the food processing. They're on it.
They're on top of it, guys. You don't got to worry about nothing.
Wow. Yes.
They got it all under control, man.
I trust the man.
I believe them. They absolutely do.
It's
Oh, my
so
goodness.
under control now that they don't even regulate the meat anymore. They just decided just go ahead and sell it because
they can't check all that.
they never have been able to.
I mean,
They never have been able
If they
to.
had 50,000, if they had 500,000 guys out there that couldn't check it out.
No,
You know what
absolutely not.
I always this. I always said I don't want to eat the meat of a cow that I don't personally know their name, and now I can do it. So now if I know the cow, I'm okay. I want to be friends with it. Not
He's
too
like,
good. Not
I
too
want
good
a
of friends.
personal relationship with my food. Okay?
Not too good of friends.
Right.
And if you know Jeff, he's kind of a connoisseur, so
Yes.
that actually takes on new dimensions.
Absolutely.
My goodness.
And are we being spoiled with the food here or what?
Oh man, you guys,
Wow.
the food that's
Did
been
Rob absolutely
from the humble spoon,
wow.
Hemphill, Texas, Okay.
Unbelievable.
off the chain. And this is coming from a former professional chef.
You got kicked to the curb.
I
That's
did
how
get,
good the food is.
that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't
He
mind.
got kicked. He got
I don't
kicked
mind
out.
kicking to the curb when
Dude,
I
we were
when
like,
somebody else is
hey,
producing
no
like that.
problem.
You're
We're
on
B
the bench.
class. We're C class. We'll sit down right here. We've been waiting for you guys to show up. We were holding it down until you showed up. No problem. That's the way I feel about everything. Anybody
Yeah.
want to come and take my job? Yeah, there you go.
No thanks.
When Tim and
I'll
Dave
pass.
went
So I'm like, I keep trying to give it to them. They're like, no,
No.
I don't want you.
No, I got. I'm good right where I'm at. I'm good right where he called me.
How about my brother Moshe down in Florida, huh?
Oh,
Got to keep him in prayer, Father.
yes.
Let your barakah be upon my brother and upon our family down in Jacksonville, Florida, and that entire camp and that entire company of our brothers and sisters that are connected here. We are united. We are ahad in all that we do. We are united in you. And I pray right now for your great mercy and grace to be upon him and to preserve and protect them.
Yes.
And to cause your barakah to shine, your barakah to be upon them in all that they do. And we're so thankful for their example and for their love for your people. And we just pray that you will continue to lead and guide them in Mashiach Yahushua.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes. Yes.
Amen.
And definitely, you know, I was supposed to be traveling back.
Yeah, you're going back to Florida.
Supposed to be.
I don't like this chair right here.
You know,
this chair's in a weird spot. Sorry,
okay.
guys.
Anyway, you know, let's. You know, every time you guys blow the shofar, or if you think about it, go out and blow the shofar.
Yeah.
You know, blow that hurricane away from any, you know, inhabited land. May it just go right through the Strait of Cuba, go right around the Atlantic, and go out into the Atlantic, and Chacabo, be done. Okay, so whenever you're thinking about it, please pray. You know, for
Hey, if you're getting
for
up at 3
Moshe.
a.m.,
I'm getting up much earlier than that.
some of you are getting that 3 a.m. intercessory
Yes.
prayer call.
Absolutely.
If you're one of those 3 a.m. people, you out there that get that 3 a.m. call, you know which one I'm
Yes.
talking about?
Yes.
That you don't talk about much, but you always wake up at 3 a.m. and you're like, why am I waking up? Before you go back to sleep,
Yes.
smack a witch on the way back to the pillow, will you? Smack a witch, will you? You know, don't just go back to bed. Go a witch first, then go back to bed.
Right.
Okay? Okay? All right? Because there's a reason why. No, seriously, on a serious note, you're being pulled on for intercession. Intercede, cry out, pray,
Yes.
and cancel
Yes.
curses.
So cancel the plans of
Cancel
the enemy.
They are working overtime, my friends, and they are doing everything they possibly can. If you guys are paying attention to the missing number of people going missing,
Yes.
the number of people that are
Yes.
disappearing, unaccounted for.
Yes.
And by the way, these natural disasters make it easy to just
Like, yeah.
so
Yeah.
you know we need to really be in prayer and lifting up each other, don't we?
I yes, absolutely. And I think 13,000 is a grossly underestimated number. I think we're going to find out. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
all
much
I
more
heard
than
in the mainstream was something like a few hundred, and I'm
Right.
like, are y'all crazy?
that. Right.
Are y'all outside? That whole town's gone.
Right.
Are we looking at Sunshine, California again, or what was that?
Yeah.
No, not
Paradise.
Sunshine, Paradise.
Paradise.
Are we looking at that again here? We're just bye. See y'all, bye.
Yeah, the one good thing is people are a lot more aware now.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be, oh, well, it's just a fire. Oh, well, you know, I don't know what happened
No,
to him.
not
He just,
anymore.
you
Now
know,
we're all paying attention, going,
Yeah.
what is going on? And I love that. No matter of a few days, they figured out the whole lithium thing. They figured
Right.
out the whole, what was the other thing? Crystals or something like that. People figured it out,
yeah,
and I start seeing reports going, well, look at this.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, the plot thickens. The plot thickens, huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's a good
Yeah.
thing. Okay.
So
people
let's-
are calling me up. You know, hey, did you hear about the latest conspiracy? I'm like, are you kidding? You're
Look
the
at
one
this.
made
Our
fun of
sister
me.
says she's been waking up crying about the babies. Look,
Oh,
I'm
my
telling you right
goodness.
now, this is something that started in 2013. You were there.
Yeah.
United for Awakening.
Yes.
Right after the whole 2012 thing, I got it right during that winter break about the children. Remember?
Right.
And we got a trigger word. We knew to start praying for
Right.
light in these
Dark
places.
places.
See? He
Yes.
remembers. Okay?
Yes.
Because it was a big deal. And
It's
we were
still a big
we
deal.
were activated. It was
I
like,
know.
but it was like a switch went off, right?
Right.
Do you remember that?
Yes, absolutely.
And all of a sudden, it was like, we've got to press this fight right here.
Right.
There's a huge awakening since
Yeah.
then on
And then
child
since then, it's like,
trafficking.
boom.
All you intercessors out there, okay? Yes, this is that we are in a fight.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't think we're in a fight, you just look at the numbers of sex traffickers and weather
All of it.
modification.
I mean, all
and
of it.
all of it. And
One of the stories I heard were children walking around naked in like North Carolina somewhere, and I'm going, oh my goodness!
right.
Now you're gonna have how many children now put right into a system again? You know, and again, and how many people's supplies went down the river?
Right.
How many prep supplies went right down that river?
Right.
Well, that gets to the spiritual protection aspect. There's the physical protection, and then there's the spiritual, and that's the aspect, that's the dimension that I think
A lot of people are missing.
I think this is
a
the
lot
issue.
of very helpful in this hour.
Absolutely.
You know, because
Very astute observation, brother.
They take it lightly. Look, you know, we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of joy. We have a lot of happiness. We're a very happy group. We have the joy of Yahweh all the time.
Yes.
But we take things seriously. When it came time to find where does he want his altar, did we take that lightly? No. We did Operation Prayer Wall, for those of you that have been with us for a while. That meant we started in Minnesota, and we drove all around the entire United States of America, praying, blowing the shofar, interceding, and asking him this question, because I came back from Israel, and what did I tell you when I stayed with you? And what did I say? I didn't want to build a building.
Right. No building can contain Yahuwah. It's never been about buildings.
Nope.
Okay.
One
That's
thing-
where they missed the mark.
One thing we were looking for. Where do you want what?
Better God.
That's right. And he's going to put the barakah where he's going to put what?
It's the 12-stone altar.
His altar. And
His
we
altar.
knew it. And we said, where do you want it?
On dirt, by the way.
On dirt. Okay, where do you want it?
Not in a building.
And it was when I came through Arizona, right up here on 10 week, cutting into Arizona from coming through New Mexico, Texas, right? We're coming in. And, Mindy, of course, will tell you it was not an easy decision. We were really seriously not sure where he wanted us to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in my heart, but really we were also looking for where are we going to live? What are we doing here? Talk to us.
Right.
And don't put any restrictions on it.
Right.
Right? Throw your stuff in the car and let's go.
Yep.
Let's find out.
Yep.
Well, I don't know where we're going. We're going that way.
Right.
Where do we go when we're done going that way? I don't know. We'll turn and go that way. And we'll go down that way. And we'll go around the country until we've blown the horn everywhere. And he'll lead us by his ruach. And that's exactly
when you didn't get all the way to San Diego, I knew that was as good as it was going to get.
Yep, he didn't let us go to the coast.
So
all the way up the middle of California. That was not a good sign
that
for
told me California, no bueno. No bueno for California,
No
better
bueno.
get out. And so I kind of took that as a sign that,
Yeah.
that's where he stopped. That's as good as it's going to get, Arizona. So
Yeah, same
That's
line
it.
as East Gate, exact same line.
Absolutely.
latitudinal line, absolutely.
Absolute, precisely, correctly.
But
Not
you didn't
even
know that at
remotely.
the time, right?
No, when I first, so I knew,
Well, you knew
I
there
had
was-
it in my heart that he put that in my heart, like
Right.
look for it on the
Right.
line. But we spent, quite a while. Once we moved to Arizona, I knew I was close. I was like, I had to finish the run, but I could smell it. I'm like, I know I'm close. Like,
Yeah.
there's something here. There's something here, and there were other factors that drew us, but that was the main thing. And then it was a couple of years of living here that it became an active search. It became I've got to find this thing. I've got to find this thing. And funny thing is that we didn't even verify that where it was until after I already had signed off on a couple of, because I was like, it's in the area. When they told me about this property, I said, well, that's close enough. That'll at least give us a place to be in the area, and we're getting closer. Like we're getting warmer. We're getting
Start looking
warmer.
to be able to look
Right.
at the line.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm not even kidding.
Right.
So sure enough, brother Drew says to me, well, did you even look as to where it is? And I'm like, well, it's in, Portal, over there in Portal. We're all the way up in Buckeye. I don't know this area at the time. So I just say, it's over in Portal, right? It's over there somewhere. And he goes, well, don't you think we should look at exactly where, Peter? And I'm like, yeah, well, So I pull out the papers they sent me that I'd already signed.
Yeah, right. You're already committed.
I knew. I
Yeah.
just had it in my ruach, right?
Yeah.
So I pull it out, and they had it in a map, and it told me the location. So I pulled it up and included the maps, and I had memorized the lat line,
Mhm.
and that's what we mean by on the line, guys. What we mean is it's literally on the latitudinal line of the east gate, which is a very precise GPS coordinate, for lack of a better word, right?
Mhm.
And there's a lat line and a longitudinal line.
Mhm.
That's how the grids work, right?
Right.
And so, so I was just looking, and I could not find anything. I found things north and south, very frustrating. And these guys actually called us. So we had inquired, but then they said they had somebody else buying it. So we kind of just considered we were looking somewhere else, and then they called us. They reached out to Mindy and said, actually, that deal fell through. We think this will be perfect for you? And they sent it to us. So then I opened it up, and Drew, he's sitting on the phone with me, and he knows what we're looking for.
Right.
So I say, Drew, you sitting down? This is not north of the line or south of the line. It's on the line. And you could just hear a pin drop, a shiver that went through both of us, like we just knew, wow, we found it.
Wow.
He was on the prayer team a week
We
earlier.
found
Yeah.
it. And then you come here and it's covered in volcanic rock. What does that tell us, brother?
No one else has been here, or else they would have removed it.
It's
This is virgin territory.
No, we
Completely.
don't got to worry about
Blood being spilled, the prior blood being spilled, Indian burial grounds, all that stuff.
No defiling of the
No
land.
defiling of the land.
how big is that?
It's a huge deal.
What are we, as we go through the Torah, what are we learning?
Right.
What did he say to Moshe when he was standing near him? Take off your shoes.
Right.
For the
Standing.
place you're standing is
Kadosh.
kadosh. It's kadosh.
Right.
And that was just a bush.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's not just an intellectual concept, dude. There's something to ley lines where,
Yeah.
prayer can impact.
That's why I kept, I felt a little weird. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I didn't even want to tell the realtors what I really was doing, because I knew they would look at me like I was a little crazy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what in the world are you doing?
Right.
But I knew that if I just followed, he would lead me. And we're sitting here, so I guess
Amen.
we wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't the story that it is, right?
That's right.
And so that's the line the 12-stone altar sits on.
Yeah.
Okay, does that make more sense now?
Yes.
So
the latitudinal line.
what are we doing? We're saying, hey, we're shouting out back to Jerusalem, to the east gate, where he says, I will call my children from the west.
Come on.
Right? Trembling from the west. We
Right.
are literally directly there.
Right.
And he's going to put his feet where? On the Mount of Olives. Come on, somebody.
Mount of Olives.
Amen.
That's right.
And so, when he put that on my ruach, I knew there was something to it that I would understand later.
Right.
It was one of those understand it later kind of things.
Right.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's when you know his hands upon it.
Yeah, just do it and understand
Right.
it later. And now, the shalom, okay?
It's real.
How about the water?
The water is the water coming out of the ground is some of the cleanest water I've ever tasted. And I'm not just saying that to tongue in cheek.
No, that's a common.
We've been sucking wind on this planet for a while now. Okay, we've drank a many a city water. Okay, and I'm telling you, it is clean.
In fact, that was one of the things our sister said to me, because I was, over there talking about a bunch of stuff, and she said, I just want to take a shower in clean water.
Right.
Yeah. And I just sat back and went, wow, the things we take for granted.
Absolutely.
You don't get all the chlorine and all the dirt and the chemicals.
Oh,
and
man.
Stuff. Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
that's
right. Just even right there in Spring Hill, Florida, in the populated area, the water tastes like like I'm drinking out of a swimming pool. It's that bad.
Even among spring waters, this is way above average.
But where I'm at out there, I get the well water from the aquifers underneath, so it's not as it's clean. But this stuff here blows it all away. Blows it all away.
Let's watch we're a G-rated channel, so let's watch our language, guys. I don't have to actually delete that and end up popping around, but sometimes people get excited, so that's not. Just, in the chat. Usually people behave pretty well on the chat. Usually a pretty good
I
chat.
thought you meant.
No.
You scared me,
I just
man.
had to delete something.
You scared me.
Let's be nice out there on the chat.
Yes, please, guys. You know,
What a night we got tonight. I mean, this is it, man.
it's beautiful.
This is it.
It's absolutely beautiful.
If you've seen the camp, we've got a wind wall. What a game changer that thing is.
Yeah, hey, come on now.
That thing is wrapped all the way around, semicircle around the whole camp. And,
Yeah.
I think that turned into a really
Absolutely.
I'm
Absolutely.
really happy about how it all turned out. Everybody seems to be having a pretty good time.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
We're going to lose our desert cred here pretty soon. It's
Right.
pretty luxurious.
Oh, right. Yeah, man. Just because we're in the middle of nowhere doesn't mean we have to live like cavemen,
More poppers, right?
right? That ain't happening. Everybody's like, oh, wow. You know? I got no wonder you guys are hanging out. Like, yeah, we're having a blast.
That's only going to get better.
What did he say? If you be willing and obedient, right?
Right.
You'll eat the good of the land. What have we been eating for the last 3 years?
Really, really good. And, people will pay $500 a day just to come to a place out in Arizona, actually.
Some of those
Spas.
places get a lot of money, don't they?
Yeah, just for the peace, just
Yeah.
for, just getting away. And
I couldn't believe what they got just up the road for just a hotel over there, man. They got a lot of money, but these guys are amazing. I mean, our sister got a picture of guys got to go over to our discussion board, remnanthouse.org/family. remnanthouse.org/family. That's where we post a lot of our family pics and things going on. And so if you want to catch up on the photos and things and videos and, latest whatever's, that's probably a good place for you to connect in.
Yes.
We're always glad to see more people connecting in with us.
Right.
So
It's,
we had hot days and cool nights. Yes, Hag Shemeach.
best night sky in America.
Oh, absolutely. Man, you want to talk about seeing some stars.
This guy's making tzitzits, man. Look at that. You go, man. You go making them tzitzits.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I
Hag Shemeach. Oh, man.
I put a couple of those on my shofar. They're actually the ones that you
Yeah,
gave
that's
me.
right. Yeah, Scott, you come bring that. You bring those pond making skills down here anytime you want to.
Come on, brother.
You can get a fish pond.
Come on, brother.
Shh, don't tell anybody.
It's going to be our secret hunting home.
They're going to want to come hang out with us even more.
We'll make the fish to fish.
We'll call the fish.
You could also pray, and you may give us a river. You never know.
Yeah.
You can put a river right down there, right on the outside of our line.
That'd be nice.
It looks like there was actually a long time ago a river bed.
Right. Yeah.
On that one side, way down there.
Yep.
So you never know.
Yep.
You never know what he might do. Don't put anything. Don't try and put him in a box. Just follow.
Go with it.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think they had any idea where that pillar of fire was walking? Like, he didn't consult with them first.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I don't think he went around the camp and said, "Hey, what do you think, guys?
Yeah.
Think we should get going? What do you think?
Wait, I think we
What do
should.
you think? You think we should go?
Let's take a vote.
What do you think? Let's vote on it. What do you think? Should we vote? I think we should vote.
I'm about to put the pillar up. Is it okay? I'm going to do it. Is it all right?
What do you guys think?
We already know where that leads.
I'm going to do the
I don't think there's any voting going on here. Okay?
Because he's not running for
No,
king.
he ain't running for king.
He ain't running for
He's just
king.
like, we're leaving now. Who's with me? We're leaving. Who's with me? Right?
And wherever you are, who knows? Those disaster maps, beachfront could be anywhere, right?
Wow. It's going to be right at that mountain line.
Right
Right
on the
there.
other side of that mountain.
Yeah.
You'd be
Yes.
like, let's go swimming, man.
Seriously.
Right on the side of the mountain.
Seriously, according to the
I know.
that
I've
naval.
actually seen that.
Yes.
I'm like, what?
It's
You know, every single map, I always put NewKingdom on the map so I can know where we stand on
Yeah.
this particular map and that
Right.
particular map. And
right, and they all say that this area here is good to
the
go.
place to be, right?
Good to go.
The other day, I woke up and I said, how did everybody get through that hurricane? Right?
Yeah.
Everybody slept nice through the hurricane, right?
Right.
Or the earthquakes going on over there, or the fires going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
Look, folks, this is not a joke. It's going to continue. He promises it. He's
Absolutely.
telling you.
Absolutely.
Says the pennies
So,
get worse.
When you now are seeing it, and it's starting to get a little closer, and you're starting to wonder, okay, is it possible that I might be in? And I'm not saying you are or aren't. I don't know. You might be in a perfectly safe place, right?
Very well, maybe.
So let him confirm that, right?
Yes.
And he says, no, you're good. You're
Yeah.
actually a good spot. Make
Mhm.
people come here. Well, then now you got a new job, don't
Right.
you?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Be careful how you test, though. You don't want to wait for the floodness.
No. Yeah, right? You better test that. Well, that's
It would be a successful
mean,
test, but it would be probably
not a
too late.
good, not a good one. I think, like there's certain parts that they have plans for, right?
Right.
And if they have plans for it, you got to decide, is that the hill you're going to die on?
Right.
Pardon the pun.
Right.
Not even a pun, a reality.
Right.
Or is this not maybe the time and place for that? Maybe we come back and fight that fight another day.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we regroup, right?
Discern the season.
This may be a time for regrouping and for coalescing as a group, if you will, as a team, as a family.
That's right.
And then deciding what your strategy is going to be. I think, knee jerking is exactly what they want, and they want to keep us divided. That seems to be the number one thing.
That's right.
Man.
Well, because they know
They can't stand the
first-
thought of you guys uniting.
First of all, if the sleeping giant were to ever truly awake, be fully awake,
The things you guys
Okay.
could do if you ever just got together.
man, listen. If the sleeping giant were to
We
get
see it when just 4 or 5 guys come together. The
Right.
things we knock out, right?
right,
You see it everywhere, all around us here.
well, that's how that wall got done in a few hours.
Or a shower,
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, absolutely. We're stronger together. We are weak when we are separated.
That is the thing that I don't understand how we didn't get that part down by now. Like, I thought for sure, seriously, guys, no joke. I thought after 9/11, and call me naive, okay,
Right.
fine, all right. I was naive. That was a long time ago, and what do I know?
Yeah.
But I really did. I thought, no, for sure. No,
Yeah.
Come on, man. I mean, come on.
I was preaching out on the streets
Here we
right
go.
after that happened.
Now we're gonna come. Now we're gonna come
Right.
together.
Come
And
on.
that just did not happen.
Right. Another thing of the cry wolf syndrome.
Absolutely. And I remember we had a newspaper, One Voice, and we were giving away free space, full page space.
Yes.
Remember that?
Absolutely remember that.
And willing to deliver, check this out, guys, to a whole zip code on us. And all we asked of that pastor was, can you write an article that would fit in the space?
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
all we asked. We
Yeah.
would typeset it,
Yeah.
graphics, whatever you needed. We would do it. We just need you to write the article. So say hello to your neighbors.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought for sure that this would be a runaway hit, that the pastors would see the value of it and jump right on board and go, wow, that's a free way to say hello to all my neighborhood. I can tell them a little bit about our ministry,
Yeah,
tell them a little bit about our children's church or
Right,
something,
yeah,
whatever
right,
they
right,
wanted to
right,
highlight, right?
Right.
So you'd have thought for sure, well, because you were there, okay? You'd have thought for sure that they would knock your door down.
Let's
right?
all get together. We're on
Let's
the same
do this.
team.
I
We're all
mean,
led by the
come on.
Ruach.
Somebody's willing to pay
Come
for
on.
that.
Yeah.
And I get to tell my story or share an article or encouragement to the whole neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right.
Who doesn't even know you're there, by the way.
Right.
As they figured out statistically, most people don't even know these ministries are there.
Right.
So it would be a way for you to be introduced, right?
Right.
So we thought for sure this would be a wild runaway hit.
Right.
Thought we had a great idea.
Yep.
Yep.
Couldn't have been more wrong.
Crickets.
I mean, it was stunning. how absolutely uninterested they were. And I'm like, well, do you have an alternative way? Nope. Do you plan on speaking to them? Nope. Do you even have something to say to your whole neighborhood? Apparently not.
You'd be better off going to Babylon. They get the team concept. They can get the band together, get something done. They get
Now
it.
that was
But
that was
yeah.
early 2000s, right? So since then we've gotten our butts kicked. Okay, I think it's pretty safe to say in the West we've been getting our tail handed to us pretty much in every sector, and it ain't going to get any better from what I can see. So you would think at this point we would all be going, I've had about enough of this Lone Ranger program.
Yeah.
Because they done whooped my butt up one side, down the other. I didn't have nobody to call. How many guys, and there's a bunch of people sitting on here with us, how many guys right now, push come to shove, you are hit with 4 or 5, Job level troubles come your way. Somebody died, lost your job, lost your car, and you got 0 people you could call. 0 people in your life that you could even reach out to who would be there for you to help pull you out of that ditch.
Right.
They're finding out right now what the price of that isolation really ended up being.
Absolutely.
Well, the question is, did Yahuwah forget to provide a way of escape and a method of organizing and a method of providing an answer, or is the children not following the plan of the ecclesia that he established?
That's right.
Because either he forgot or we're not following his plan.
Right.
And my wake up, one of my many wake up, 9/11 was one. When COVID hit, I said, okay, I'll give these guys a shot. I'll look and see what's the response. What are these guys doing? And everywhere I looked, even the good ones, I was getting good teaching from pastors, ministers. Their response was to have this deer in the headlight look, put a mask on. We're shutting the church down. We're putting velvet ropes up. And that was their response. And that's when I knew, okay, it's not Yahuwah that's weak. It's the children not following his plan.
Right. Well,
So,
they're definitely, like I said, I keep going back to the whole crying wolf syndrome, and how many people have been guilty of saying, hey, it's going to happen on October the 14th of 2011. And people, some may even have gotten on that train. Come to find out, nothing happened.
Yeah.
So, that keeps happening over and over and over again. Pretty soon, people become dull of hearing because they're like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, at a certain point, we have to, either Yahuwah's not real or we're not following his plan.
right,
And it's our responsibility to seek that out
right,
and to follow his word and his ecclesia. And
Exactly.
that's where that's happening.
exactly.
So,
Well, I think we have an issue here.
so apparently, is that thing? I guess there's some technical issues or something of that nature. I don't know.
Everything just shut off, guys. I don't know what happened.
Oh, did I bump it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, guys.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry. A little technical hiccup
Technical
there.
difficulties. Please stand by.
Please stand by.
Please stand by.
Is it okay to be unplugged?
Yeah, we're good.
Good observation, though.
It was really clever. Thank you for the water. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Thank you.
You started talking about the water. I'm like, ooh, I'm thirsty. I want water.
Yes. Yes. Well,
I switched to the other one, but I think what happened was that battery went dead.
Okay.
So
fine.
it just flipped because
Right.
it needed to flip to the other battery.
It's like as soon as this guy, steps out for
That water fixed the technical difficulties. Heidi says, I don't know if he can catch fish, but man, it's good water.
It's good. Man, it's phenomenal water right out of the ground. Unbelievable.
Well, I think it's primary water.
Absolutely.
I have a sneaking suspicion that I can't prove it, but I have a sneaking suspicion it's primary water, and it's
mixed with volcanic rock.
It's like 300 feet down, 350 feet down.
Yeah.
So,
But guess what else is down there? All that volcanic rock.
yeah. Well, that's what they make those blood oranges in
Absolutely.
Italy, right?
Yep.
Isn't that one of the things we talk about a lot is
Mineral
food
rich.
and nutrition. Let's go in that direction for a minute. What in the world's going on with all of that? The chemicals are going everywhere.
Wow.
We're finding out about PFAS. We're finding out about what the heck happened here. We let these guys in. When we were kids, we had
Right.
everything was made in glass,
Right.
right? When you went to get even soda pop, it was all glass. Your jellies were all in glass.
Yes.
Your peanut butter was in glass. Everything was in glass.
Yes.
There was nothing in plastic.
Plastic. Now it's just disgusting how much plastic we are surrounded by and drinking out of, and it's sickening. But I tell you one reason why that we're in the situation that we're in, because they're not following the commandments that say that every 7 years you must rest your land for one full year.
That's a big one.
Okay, so when they're not doing that, it's like you're altering the recipe, and you're going to suffer the consequences of that. And we see that in the amount of stripped land, depleted soil.
Yeah.
Okay, it's because they do not follow that simple rule.
But a lot of people are now. A lot of people are going back to the agrarian. I'm not saying it's a huge movement. I'm not saying it's like millions and millions, but there's a definite movement of people that I'm seeing more evidence of that are homesteading and are saying,
we're going to start doing it this way.
We're going to do it this way.
Yes. We're going to start following.
And we need to fan that flame, we need to encourage that.
Absolutely.
Because the small farm needs to make a comeback.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be a port strike or a war. What happens when supplies stop? There's a hiccup.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
What do you do?
And have you looked on a map? Here's another thing we did, guys. They came up with a map of the PFAS areas that are contaminated. Right? Now, for those of you that don't know what those are, I'm just learning about this stuff, guys. I mean, I find out so much every week that I'm just like, wow. PFAS it was a term that came out a couple of years ago. I started to see it more and more, and it's basically those forever chemicals,
right?
Like Teflon and some of the other chemicals that don't leave the soil or your system. If it gets into your system, it accumulates, right? Okay, forever chemicals. Yes, exactly. So you need to look on maps. You guys can't take this for granted, especially if you're buying land, right? You're going to go buy 40 acres somewhere, 50 acres somewhere, right? You're going to buy a homestead. Fantastic idea. Love it. Fabulous. Look on a PFAS map first before you close that deal, because if that thing's contaminated, that might be the reason you're getting the price you get.
Right.
And they show you where there's been contamination.
We're getting to a point. You're going to need the covering. You're going to need the spiritual aspect of things, and that's
and it may even require physical coverings too, like greenhouses. Okay. Things
no,
like
but what
that.
he's talking about is that there's going to come a point. Yes, there's stages of this. Like I think the next stage is going to be coalesce into groups and other shepherds. Because what I see when I see Jeremiah 23. Is I see a bunch of people waking up to the lies, which we're seeing evidence of right now. And then I also see a bunch of people asking new questions about how assembly's meant to work.
Right.
How this dwell together thing, he says in Psalm 23 or 133, and what the first century apostles did, and what's the apostles' doctrine, and how you can't get away. Once you see it, you won't unsee it, right?
Cannot see it.
So these shepherds are restored. As he says in Jeremiah 23, takes him out of this Greek nonsense. Takes him out of this Greek classroom nonsense. Okay, and puts them back in a Hebrew context where you can have Talmudim, where there is actual discipleship, but you actually dwell together, which is how they survived the persecution.
Take a lesson from
we got to take a lesson from
even from the Amish.
Well, the Amish is a great example, but we got to take a lesson from the catacombs right now.
That's true too.
We're heading into the worst time in Earth's history for persecution.
Right.
Yeah, I think this
So
is
the catacombs is our lesson base now.
Right.
We're not talking about any nice time periods.
Right.
We're talking about ducking and running here
Right.
because
they were industrial scale. Clearly, you
they
can tell
were
by the
flat
bones.
out coming for
Right.
all the believers, man.
Right.
You were telling a story they didn't want to know. They didn't want people to know.
I mean,
So-
there was industrial scale. If you look at the
Yeah.
number of bones in the catacombs, they
Oh
meant
my
business.
goodness, man.
They meant business. So
That's all
Yeah.
coming out now. What do you guys
Right.
think about all
Yeah.
that coming out?
Yes. Well, it's to me it's not extremely surprising, but
Right.
it's still at the same point you still kind of go, wow, really?
What do you guys think about that? My lunch break's been doing a lot of uncovering, which of course I don't think he's the only guy, but I think he's probably been the most successful
Right.
guy that's at least drawn attention to the topic. I was watching videos about that almost 10 years ago, so it wasn't a new thing to me, but I'm really glad to see more
Right.
people asking questions about that
Absolutely.
because I think those cities are like homing devices or something. They're
Mhm.
like holding on to souls or something.
Right.
If you're cursed, it
Hmm.
has a different effect on you,
Right.
doesn't it?
Right.
I would think.
well, like you
Right.
said, once the land is, we think in terms of deliverance of people, but they
Yeah.
think in terms of entire geographies.
That's right.
Once the land itself is defiled, now you have a separate problem. You could even have a whole new group of people. The land itself is defiled.
You're meeting on top of a pentagram. And
Yeah.
You don't even know it.
geographically.
Geographically,
So
you're
they will-
meeting on land that but for a paint job is a pentagram underneath.
You
it.
mean like Washington
Literally.
D.C.?
Yeah.
I'm talking about actually.
Yeah.
Think about like if you bought a piece of property, guys,
Right.
and you
I'm with
find out from the history that it was owned by witches.
Right.
And then you look in the basement, and man, they left a little couple of presents for you, and you're wondering where all this weird stuff's coming from,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Now you're gonna have to deal with that, right?
Right.
And you would be like, "Oh man, this is a serious problem." These guys were doing Ouija boards in here.
Right.
They were doing seances. They
Sure.
basically did all they sacrificed cats and
Yeah.
an owl and some other nonsense,
Yeah.
and they did it all in the basement. And you
Right.
bought the house,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
All right, that's the scenario. What are we dealing with?
You're dealing with
You're gonna have to cleanse
principalities.
that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You're just dealing with principalities and powers.
Okay.
And people tend to think, oh, okay, whatever, all right, blah 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 blah. But what people don't understand is, as that kind of thing increases, the
Yeah.
sacrificing of dogs and cats
Right.
and what have you, voodoo.
It didn't
hate-
stop there.
hate-
We're just keeping it G-rated.
Yeah, but as that increases, I mean, we're
Right.
seeing it. in
Well, we
some
saw the
cases
bones, so we know what they actually did
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, we're seeing it.
at an industrial scale.
Right.
We're seeing sacrifices now to this day. We're
Right.
seeing
We
there's
just
stories
don't.
of Haitians and sacrificing of cats. And right after,
What was this thing that just
and we
happened?
see natural disasters right afterward.
Sure.
So it's a real thing.
It's real.
It's
The witchcraft
yeah.
is real.
It's real.
Witchcraft is not a joke, is
Nope,
it?
it is not.
When
It has to be-
Yahweh says, "Don't suffer a witch to live," that means that's a significant threat.
Absolutely.
That's a significant threat, and to take it lightly is to open yourself up to major problems.
Yes.
Well, as witchcraft has increased in this country the last 20, 30 years, we've seen much more natural disasters
Boy, howdy.
and economic things and
How many are not even
ter-
making that correlation?
terrorist
right?
attacks. So it's real. And
I
that
have
has
to
to be
agree.
dealt with. That land has to be repented for. That's defiled
Yes.
land. And that's, and they're very, the other side's very organized. I mean, they know exactly.
That's
what
the other
they're
thing. They
doing.
got no problem with unity.
None.
Of course,
None.
they have we have ways of making. we
Ways of
don't
making
get to
it
use
talk.
their tactics.
They approach a town.
We have to appeal
Yeah.
to people to walk in love. So. We don't get to say we're gonna break your knees if you
Right.
don't show up for
We have to
assembly.
play by a different set of
You
rules.
don't show up for assembly, we're breaking your knees.
Well, once upon a time.
I'll make you an offer you can't refuse. We can't do that.
You can't
bro.
do that.
Either you're called or you're not.
You're either hot or you're cold. There's no middle
Well,
ground.
there it is, isn't it? It's really all about that very thing. It's either you're hot or you're cold, isn't it?
That's right.
Because I think a lot of it is just about him by his ruach really eating a lot of people up.
Absolutely.
What I see is a lot of people are getting on fire. They are waking up
Mhm.
and they are not happy. I'm wanting to stand over here going, I didn't do it. Wasn't me. Wasn't me. I'm mad too. Yup, I'm with you. I'm mad too. Yup, what she said. What he said. Man, look, I don't want to be responsible for none of what they found, man. because you know how upset they are.
Oh man,
People are getting angry.
you see them crying on TikTok and just in total shock and disbelief that how could I have been deceived
Yep.
like that?
Yep.
You see, it's happening more and more every
And I
single day.
trusted, you know,
Yeah.
and then talk about who they trusted, and of course a lot of it is.
Fought for this country, you know, only
Well,
to
I'm
be
talking
betrayed
about
by it.
pastors. I'm talking
Oh,
about
pastor.
ministry. I'm talking about
Sure.
that topic of
Sure.
discovering the name. I'm not talking about patriotism. I'm talking about that
Yeah.
revival. I don't care about a patriotism revival.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
Yeah.
them waking up to his name,
Right.
waking up to the truth,
Sure.
waking up to the reality that they lied to him in their scriptures, that, you know, Queen James was a flaming queen and,
Yeah.
Satanic.
you know, knew all about demonology. So when they commissioned the
Wrote a book on it.
Right
I
before,
mean,
right
that's
before
the
he
guy you
started
want.
the scriptures.
That's the guy you want to write.
we were
your Bible.
talking about this
Oh
earlier.
my
It's like
goodness.
history. Let's see, these are topics we all talk about. You know, and you think about that, like, wait, how did they pull this okey doke on everybody? Well, they killed the people that had a problem with it.
Right.
A lot. Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Like regularly. And everybody got the message. Like, this is the deal.
Right.
You use this songbook when you sing. We are telling you the songbook. That's how you want to talk about religion. Okay? You want to talk about religious.
Right.
Go back and look at the 1600s, from 1595 to 1650 to 1660, right in there. And right into the interregnum, I'm talking about English history. Wow. They not only gave them the word, that the Bible that they had to read and couldn't read any other, they gave them a songbook and said you couldn't sing out of any other. They gave them prayer books, said you couldn't pray any.
Hymnals.
No, not just hymnals,
Right.
prayer books.
Oh,
Like,
prayer
these are
books.
this is what you pray.
Oh,
This is
Like-
what you pray.
I like that.
Don't pray anything you want. You pray what I tell you.
Well,
Can you believe that? Like,
now we
hello,
wonder-
cult leader,
right,
right?
and we wonder why we're in the mess that we're in.
Oh no, and then you look at 1666, but even before that, they killed the king to bring in a law to change the access for the Radanites, and this spiritual battle has been on full blast. So we're at the end of a long trap that was set for us
400 years.
400 years ago.
Yeah.
Sure.
Which was to culminate in 2015. They were to come and finally take rulership over the whole world, but it didn't work out. But
Oh, no. It was a stay.
it was just-
Well, there was a stay, but the time, you know, he doesn't stay it forever.
Well, no.
So, you know, you have to answer this question. Like, if you ask him, if you were to say, and this is a great question for our folks out there, if you were to say, hey, I'm going to pray for my brother to get more time, what's more time going to do?
Right.
You got to answer that question,
Right.
right? You're making a petition before the court. Why? What's going to happen in another year? Am I going to dig in dung this tree? Is that what we're doing now? We're digging in dung. We're at that point? Because I'm ready to pluck it.
Right.
Oh, don't pluck it. What does the king pray? You're going to have a bad year.
Right.
That bad year may have been your last chance.
Right.
Because what does he say he does before he says, pluck it up?
Digging dung.
I'm going to give you a bad year.
Or-
Yeah, you're going to get a dig and dung year,
Yeah,
right?
right. Digging dung.
Yep, you're going to get a dig and dung year. So,
Absolutely.
okay. I bet that doesn't smell good.
I know it didn't feel good either.
I know it doesn't feel good,
Mm-mm.
right? But that's a signal that that's that tree's last chance.
Right.
When you look at it from that perspective, you're like, oh, wait a minute. Before I get upset about what's going on in my world,
Right.
maybe I'm being told this is it.
Right.
If you think this is bad, you don't want to see what comes next.
Almost.
Well, if it's the time of the pangs, the birth pangs, they don't get less. They don't get less.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't. They don't. The birth pangs continue until we have a child. The birth pangs do not dissipate. The contractions get closer until we finally have the birth.
Right.
And I believe that's part of what you're seeing even here, because with his name flying, right, and his set apart place and things that are happening here that aren't happening anywhere else, that he's asked to have happen here.
that he's spoken to us that don't appear to be spoken to anyone else.
Right.
So there's something happening special that he's cracking in right now. When Brother Gerald is talking about him, when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Ruach of Yahweh lifts up a standard against them.
Right.
Well, what a lot of people don't know, he knows,
Mm-hmm.
was that after I went to those 40 cities in 1999, I went to 26 cities in 2000
Mm-hmm.
and finished in Jerusalem. And that word was that follow, prepare for the coming persecution.
Yes.
That word was lift up the standard.
Right.
That was the word we went to follow the carrying of the brimstone,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So you see this picture, you're like, okay, you get this prophetic word, like this warning word.
Mm-hmm.
And then he sends us back out with a lift up the standard
Right.
against the enemy.
Come on.
Okay? And little do we know, little did I know at that time, where we'd be sitting today. But it really started back then,
Yes, it did.
1999 and 2000.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. As I sit back and look at even my own journey, I know that he has kept me discomfited for a reason.
Yeah.
Until such a time as this. So, absolutely.
Yeah.
What you said is absolutely true. He's been preparing you all along in small chunks, in small bits and pieces
Well, all of us.
that you can eat.
I ain't known anybody getting more people baptized,
Right.
water baptized than this guy in the last few months. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot going on.
And I'm not out there. I'm not out there holding up a sign either.
No, they're just calling you. And
They're just calling me and saying, "Listen,
you gonna do it again tomorrow?
yeah, I'll do it again
Got another
tomorrow.
one tomorrow.
Absolutely. I'll do it. Like I said, I will take care of anybody that needs to be baptized. You know, if you're here, or if you're not here, you can come see me. But listen, I'll baptize them
Get
tomorrow.
you wet.
I will get you wet. We'll get you clean.
That's right.
We
Believe in that.
We will. Them scales. If there's any scales left on your eyes,
Yeah,
they will fall away.
that's right.
Yeah.
You will feel.
Ask
his
every single
tzedakah.
solitary person that they've all come to me and said, "Brother, you ain't lied about that. It's straight up. Them scales fell.
Yeah.
Like they did for me, they will do for them." So
You know what else is somewhat interesting is the reverse is also true. If you see more destruction, then you know a standard is rising, or standards are rising in various.
That's a
other
really good
places.
point.
Because there's always a way of
Because
escape.
math goes both ways.
There's
right?
a way of escape, right?
Yeah, right. I
Sure.
think that's a really good way to put that.
Sure.
You've seen the destruction, and you know he said he takes peace from the earth. That's the other thing that we know is coming next is he takes peace from the earth.
isn't that already happening?
Well, not at the level that they're talking.
Well, that's true. It
Okay,
definitely
I
has
mean,
already started.
This is not funny, man. This is about to get really
So
nasty.
what are the places where that peace is regathering?
Look,
Re-
80%
relocating?
of the United States of America's population is east of the Mississippi. I think if you're looking at reducing that number, as some people are, that'd be a better return on your investment.
A bang for the buck.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
So, I don't think it takes a lot of, deep thought to go, uh-oh,
Yeah.
are we in a place
Right.
where they're going to be spraying raid to kill roaches? Because that's how they think.
Right.
I mean, not to be too graphic, but that's reality. I mean, this is what we're looking at.
Sure.
And we don't know where this is coming from. We can't pinpoint like, oh, it's these guys or it's those guys, because we're seeing like the invisible hand here,
Right.
which is coincidentally, these things coincidentally happen all at the same time. Coincidentally.
Where do you see more rituals? Where do you see more voodoo? Where
I
do you
don't
see more?
I don't know. I don't see any. I don't go to those things.
I know where I
witchcraft.
I know where I saw them. Okay, when that eclipse happened, I've got pictures of it. All kinds of look like pentagrams and
No.
all kinds of stuff. They were just like
I
going
think
nuts.
people didn't realize what they were like.
They didn't know what they were looking at.
Yeah, I think if like more people are doing more aerial stuff
Yeah.
and, looking at things from the ground, or
Right.
from the sky, like right above. And
Yeah.
I think we're starting to see there's more patterns than maybe we thought.
Absolutely.
These guys crisscrossed the country. with
Man,
these-
it was like pentagrams and
yeah. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be living on
That
any of that.
stuff's real. Demons really do have permission to come from
It's
the pit of
just,
hell.
you're in their home
In
turf.
certain
I mean, I
things,
gotta
yeah.
believe even if I were brand new to this topic, okay, and I just were first waking up, I go, okay, well, duh.
Right.
Like, are we seriously standing on home turf of like that demon lord thing over there?
Right.
I don't know nothing. I'm just brand new here.
Right,
I just got
right.
water baptized yesterday.
Is that a good
idea?
But I'm pretty sure I know that we're not supposed to be near these dudes. Is that about right?
That's about right.
You know, and
You guys sure you know what you're doing?
you guys,
I'm new to this. I don't know.
Yes.
you know what you're doing over there? I don't think we're supposed to be here. Oh, no, it's fine. I don't think it's fine. See, I used to hang out with those guys. That's why I came to you guys to get saved. Only you're staying with them. I don't understand what's going on here.
Have you done anything?
I thought we were leaving. I thought I was getting saved. This is not saving me. What's going on here?
Have you repented for the land? Have you done anything?
Nothing.
Have you blown
You're
a
not doing,
trumpet?
wait
No?
a second. No wonder I'm on this roller coaster ride.
Okay. All right.
The relapse rate is ridiculous.
I'll trust you guys. All
Very
right.
long time.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
that
God.
was. Yeah, that was one of the things. When I came out,
I wonder if they're gonna come tell us when dinner is, or they're just gonna leave us out here.
they'll probably smell. It's like they're having a great
I can
time.
answer that
Leave 'em
question.
alone.
Leave them alone.
They're gonna give us the Josiah pump fake. Sure, I'll tell them. I'll let them know.
Actually, they have no choice. We're holding the Sukkot hostage.
Woo!
Actually,
There you go.
We gotta wrap it up, guys. 'Cause
Yes,
we're
we
holding
do. Yes, we
we're
do.
holding the Sukkot
We need-
hostage.
we
I
need
just
to-
realized that. We gotta
Yes.
call it into our hangout.
And
here,
and
unfortunately.
you know what? For all you guys that have hung out there for this, you know, may you be blessed.
Yeah, right. You guys hanging out with us old dudes, you're pretty cool people.
Because this is officially the Grandpa Brigade.
That's it. And we're just here to encourage you and tell you we love you.
Yes.
That Yahusha is king.
Yes.
And he is coming again soon.
Yes.
In the meantime, we have to buckle up, Buttercup, because it's fitting to get
Yes.
crazy
Yes.
in the world,
Yes.
in the earth. So
Yes.
find your fold, find your place. Last thoughts, brother.
You know, I just pray that, the one thing that I would just continue to pray for your loved ones and those that are being stiff-necked is that they get their visitation, they get their moment, they get their, when Yahweh just comes
And be
in.
compassionate, man, because
And
this is a big thing.
It is a big thing, and I went through my own period. So I'm not sitting here, trying to act like I'm some super saint, because truth of the matter is, I had issues too that I had to deal with, but I'm here. Here we are. So be patient with your relatives, and by all means, fast and pray for them.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
Fast and pray for them.
Come on, man.
Don't just,
Yeah.
don't just say, well,
Well, I hope they wake up.
I hope they wake up.
Take a couple
Yeah.
days off from the grub. Push away from the table for 3 days. and
Right.
Pray for them.
Right.
And then see what happens.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. That's my closing thoughts. I love you all, every single one of you. May you be Baruch.
Jeff, what are your final thoughts?
Do what you can in the natural, of course. Don't not do anything, and you always have to do what you can with what you have.
Yes.
Yes.
But also be encouraged. This is, as you've said many times, this is the great and terrible day. So,
That's right. There's some places that are going to be terrible. And there's some places that are going to be great.
Right.
So find the right ones.
Yes.
And today I mentioned during Shabbat about the altar and staying connected. So again, if you're connected to the altar, if you're connected together, you're connected to Yahusha, you're connected to his name, right? You're connected in and under authority. You're all in one family. Then now you're not just camping.
Right.
Now you're not just camping.
Good thought.
Okay.
Yes.
If
Absolutely.
you're out there just wildcat,
willy-nilly,
no assembly,
no assembly,
this
no
is what
cover.
he came to build his assembly.
Yes.
So, what are you, a spare part over here? There are no spare parts. Okay, we don't have any extras, so we need every one of them.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be here, but the point is you need to connect, and where you're connected is who you're connecting. Now you're if you couldn't be at a certain spot,
Right.
because of whatever circumstances, but you're connected to the body there, and they are doing what they're doing, and Yahweh called them to this or that.
Yeah.
Now you're connected to a body. But when you're by yourself, you just can't.
Right. No
Okay?
Lone Rangers.
There's no Lone Ranger. You just camping.
Right.
So if you're out there and you're part of the house, and maybe you couldn't make it down here, but you see us out there and you're connected with us and your heart's here, and you pray,
Yeah.
keep peace, right?
Right.
Pray for your brethren,
Right.
no strife,
Right.
and you honor him.
Right.
We're all in this together.
That's right.
One part is Barakah on
Barakah.
one part, Barakah is on the whole part.
That's right.
So that's what we mean by that. And there's a lot of people that are just doing their own thing with no connection. That's very different than the people that maybe didn't make it to this particular feast, but they're staying connected to the house, they're staying connected to the family, they're staying connected to one another.
That's right.
That's a different scenario.
The Barakah is still upon.
Right. Okay.
The Barakah is still there.
That's what I wanted to clarify so that no one got offended. I didn't want to offend anybody.
No.
And that's it.
That's it.
Well, thank you so much, my brethren, for hanging out with us and putting up with us old guys. We always enjoy hanging out with you, and certainly appreciate all of you, and are thankful for your support, your love, your prayers. Again, continue to pray one for another. Pray for those in ministry, especially because it is a very difficult time. And pastors and ministers, I would imagine, are the ones under the most pressure right now to awaken.
Yes.
And on that note, we're going to go get ourselves some grub and end this Shabbat with our brothers and sisters. So thank you so much for joining us. May Yahuwah Baruch each and every one of you. And remember, Yahusha HaMashiach, he alone is King of Kings.